Hi, if you can hear us, could you accept to come on stage?
Hi, Nikolai. There we go. Hello, Nikolai.
Yes, hello.
Hi. Welcome to Ucrainalive, our Discord server for mostly Romanian speakers and Romanian audiences.
Okay.
I was telling people a little bit about yourself and about your mathematics background, and but I would like you, if you can, just to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about you before we actually talk about your personal experience from Odessa.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So I was born in Odessa, and all my life I have been living in Odessa. Okay, I went to school in Odessa and then to university, and my education is a master degree in applied mathematics. In the West, you call it computer science. So I have master's degree, and I did my postgraduate education. Well, if you mean the background is what I learned is I have FC certificate from Cambridge University in English and at CMP from von Goethe Institute in German language, which I haven't spoken, I don't know, for last 20 years, maybe less time when I spoke German. I lived in Germany a little bit, and I worked as employee for a railway station, railways for informational center of railways, then for a commercial bank, and then the crisis happened in Ukraine, so I was fired. I was jobless for about 2 years, maybe, doing whatever can pay my bills, and now I run some of my small local businesses here in Ukraine as an independent entrepreneur.
And now you're also doing something for your city that is in the middle of a war-torn country. Could you tell us what you have been doing? What have you been doing for the last couple weeks or so related to conflict? And I mean your social media, your YouTube channel. Could you share a little bit about your experience with that?
Yes, with great pleasure. Well, I already tried to develop my YouTube channel. It is devoted to electric cars, which I like very much, and I drive one, and home automation, which is part of my education and background. Then I let it go. I didn't do this, but when I already had some experience, subscribers, etc. But then this conflict happened, and because as an entrepreneur, I know that we create our reality with our thoughts. That works 100%. If you expect for troubles, the troubles will happen. If you expect for success, then success will happen. And I saw people completely. I just they are older than me, more experienced than me, but I walked around, drove around the city, and I looked into their eyes, and I very quickly understood that the people are just lost. They don't know what to do. They are in panic. They are depressed. They are shocked. And my background, I was grown by not by my parents, but my grandparents, grandmother and father, and they experienced the Second World War here in Odessa, and every day of my life I heard their old stories about war and what they did, how they survived, what is life when there is war is, what you have to do, and I completely understood that when there is war, then life is different. It's another life, and as far as I have been prepared for this life, of all my childhood, when the war started, it started the life which I knew how to live exactly, because they taught me every day of my life. So what I did, Combining with my entrepreneurship experience, I ran my small YouTube channel, new one, because my old subscribers did not expect from me such things. They are subscribed for electric cars, automation, etc. So I started new channel where I just which I do every day. For example, today I uploaded 4 new videos about Odessa. I drive all around Odessa every day, showing the people the just reality, because if you follow the news, central media news, then if you believe what they say, then you will discover that Odessa was bombed out and destroyed and burned down about 9 days ago, which is completely false. So I just showed people things as they are. The road is broken, okay, it's broken. The road is okay, okay, it's okay. So things as they are, and people started to, all people who I know from Poland, from Bulgaria, from Romania, from Germany, from Ukraine, and my videos every day, every day, every day, and it was like a medicine. They started to calm down, and maybe it helped. If it helped them to create normal, stable, calm life, something like
I
that.
understand people were just maybe finding comfort. And I actually met someone from Odessa, one of your friends, who was telling me that she watches your videos because she's outside Odessa now. And for the people listening to the on the channel now, you have to understand people from Odessa have a very special connection with this city. I myself, and I've said that many times on Discord, think Odessa is the best city in Ukraine. I've always had really good memories here. I met extremely interesting people. Every time I watch the images on YouTube, when I'm at home, I relate to it in a very special way. And I imagine it's the same for people born, raised, or who lived here many years, not just someone like me who just visited occasionally or worked here on different stories as a journalist. So, Nikolai, we will put a YouTube link to your channel shortly. Just send me one on WhatsApp or on Viber, whatever you want,
Yes.
just to have it handy whenever you get a chance. And I will post it on our channel here for people to watch your videos if they want to. We will also open very shortly the floor for people to ask you questions personally, to ask us both questions because we are both in Odessa, but mainly you because you're born and raised here and you have a deep knowledge and a deep understanding of Ukrainian society. And speaking of that, I would actually want to ask you one question that is related to the topic. You can't really read it probably because it's in Romanian up there, but I'm gonna read it for you. It says, "How does corruption affect the war in Ukraine?" So, Nikolai, I'm just gonna ask you to tell everyone what you told me today in the car. I think is the perfect example to start this conversation, and I mean the license plate in the car in front of
Yeah.
us. Just share that story with
Yes,
us, please.
yes. I have tried to tell it. Thank you very much. It's amazing question. I have tried to tell this many times to my foreign friends. I mean, from the West, Hungary, Romania, Germany, Great Britain, etc. Well, most of them, if not all, I have to say all of them are very polite and nice and understanding people, and they are always too nice to believe me that what I say is the truth. But it's not just the truth; it's just obvious everyday Ukrainian reality. And about car plates, well, you know that in Dubai, a car plate, for example, car plate which has only digit 1, for example, or 2 or 0, can cost and is more expensive than the car itself. It can cost $1 or $2 million, for example. It is Dubai. But in Dubai, it's just your status. It just shows that you have something, that you have a lot of money, nothing more. But it doesn't say that you can break rules or something. That the police will not stop you. That you will not. It doesn't mean that you have that the law. That the law can has special meaning for you than for others. But in Ukraine, we have it's obvious everyday reality. You can ask any person in Ukraine, and anyone will tell you the same story. For example, if the plate contains many repeating digits, for example 0001, the plate can contain maximum 4 digits. If it has 0001, for example, or 9991, or even all digits are the same, for example 6666 or 7777, it means that this car, or for example 9951, something like that, it means that the car is driven by a prosecutor or a judge or a city governor or a deputy man from parliament, or somebody working for the government or city government or somebody who has power. And it means, okay, this car will be stopped if it has broken the rules. But just imagine the police stops the car where there is a judge in the car. So in Ukraine, they cannot give this church a fine for breaking the rule. It's in Ukrainian, everyday life. It's just the picture that is not possible. It is unreal. Okay.
I understand. Yes, absolutely. Would it be possible for a normal citizen to get these privileged license plates? How do you obtain one of them?
Okay, I have to know someone from the government, from the city, from someone from government or someone from Georgia. So they have to know me, because I can be the person who checks, or inspector or somebody. They don't want problems, of course, and they have to, for example, you know me, you know that I'm not a Russian spy, for example. You checked it, we talked a lot, and you know me personally, so we have connection with you. Okay, and imagine you are, for example, a prosecutor. So then I have to pay, well, let's say $10,000 or something, and I can get such plate. So
I see. I mean, thank you for sharing this story. It's a good example of, and I was aware of corruption in Ukraine, but it's always, a very general discussion for foreign journalists, even for a foreign audience. It's just a label, but when you ask people to explain it to you, sometimes they cannot. And I think you today gave me a very good insight on day-to-day corruption with an example of a car driving right in front of us. Let me ask you a bigger question, Nikolai. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes. Can I give you the freshest example of today?
Absolutely.
Today I saw, I put a video on my YouTube channel where we have, for example, in Ukraine limit today. You can only buy 2 pieces of bread per day, because we have war. We have a very big shortage of corn, of anything. And I pictured, when I drove to the border, I pictured 6 huge trucks with the corn. I absolutely know it's a corn, because, well, I live in this country. It's a corn. They out of the countries, they sell this corn. And then
we're going to Moldova, right?
Yeah,
Because we were at the Moldovan border today.
Yes, to Moldova, and then farther, maybe farther to Europe, maybe to Moldova. It's out of Ukraine. Ukraine is a country which has a war and needs everything now. And this was the first part of the story. And the second, that we have an analog, or like FBI in United States, but we have same in Ukraine. And today I saw they stopped a car with the criminal guys. Okay, I'm sure they are criminal guys, but anyway, should be police, there should be law, there should be court, prosecution, blah 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 blah. But they just put one of the guys into a room, and I heard screams out of there, and then they asked me a big bottle of water, because I took water for a long time because I was driving a lot. And they asked me this bottle of water, and I got it back just in 30 minutes. And the water was very hot, despite of the fact that it's very cold outside. So I'm sure that they beat him and put water over, so that it cannot be seen that they beat him. And why I tell this story, it may seem to you artificial or terrible, but I wrote to my neighbor. It's about corruption. I wrote to my neighbor, a woman, and this woman has a son who is one of many employees of this FBI agency, Ukrainian FBI. And I told her everything about this. And she asked me only one thing: do you need help now? I said, no, I don't need help. I just want to. And these guys came to me and took my phone and made sure that I didn't make any photos. So
The guys from the internal security.
yes, and they if I did something, if they did everything right, then why do they need to delete photos? So this is the first. And now, just when I was telling you about these plates, she sent me an answer. She said, Nikolai, these guys, she took 10 hours to check it. These guys, they took a criminal, and the second was, Nikolai, these trucks are just cargo trucks. They don't have corn. Okay, so this is how corruption works. She said they took criminal, but that there is no law in Ukraine letting you beat or kick the criminal. There is a court, there is a law, there is a police, there is a prison. This it's not allowed in any country. But
let me ask you this, Nikolai.
Yes.
You're sharing, and I really admire your courage. Just listening to you being so open and honest, I have to say I really respect and admire your courage to speak out. But what you're telling us with these stories and these incidents that you document and you share is a type of corruption that affects even national security. Let me ask you, how big of a role does corruption play at the moment in the war in Ukraine? How big of a danger it is to the security of Ukraine in a war zone?
Well, corruption, it's such a part of our life, like clouds in the sky, like sun that rises up in the morning and goes down. It is how we breathe, how we live every day. For example, when I was waiting for you today, many hours, but it's okay because it's war. We cannot predict terms and hours. So I saw a lot of cars with people younger than me or same age as me, and half of them were turned back, because if you are under 60 years old, you are not allowed to leave Ukraine now if you are Ukrainian citizen, because it's war and you can be called to army. But so a person like me cannot leave the country legally, but half of the young people just left and left and left and left, and I thought maybe they are citizens of Moldova, maybe they are citizens of Pridnestrovia, or maybe they are citizens in, I don't know, Romania or something, but they were cars with Odessa plates that just were going and going and going and going, and there was only even 4 cars which were secured with the police car, and they were not only allowed to go out of Ukraine, they were secured with police car, and they were driven by people like 25, 30 years old, no more, I guarantee. There were so many cars with Odessa plates that it's impossible to believe that they all were foreigners, but they were let out and out and out. How did they do this? They simply bought the papers from the. You mean they gave a bribe and took the papers that they cannot serve in army, and they paid money, and it let them go out of the country. For example, and I saw, I don't know how many cars. I was there for 4 hours, and I saw maybe 60 or 70 cars with people who are not allowed to leave the country, but they did it just in 4 hours, just in one place. But
How much is the ongoing rate? I mean, I'm sure people here in Odessa talk about how much do you have to pay, how much people say they have to pay to cross the border.
Well, they say 1,000 is not enough, so I didn't ask exactly how much, but my idea is $2,000 to $3,000, something like that. It will be enough. Well, but I can ask, of course. But even the fact that I tell you that I can ask, and let you know how much it is. Even this fact, even my phrase, can tell you that the corruption is a normal everyday thing in Ukraine. Which
people will actually answer that question.
Yes,
People
yes,
able to cross you will give you an answer over the phone
yes. It's
just
like
easily.
Yes, it's like Nikolai, go and find out how much is the piece of bread. I say, okay, I'll let you know in 2 hours, something like that. So if you ask me which role does corruption play in Ukraine in war or not during the war, anytime, it's like this. It's like bread in supermarket. Okay?
I mean, with that in mind, I would actually like to open the floor to the people listening or to the people who can write or want to write on the Ucrainalive chat, and I'll ask Georgia to keep an eye on that chat for us if she can. So if you guys have any questions, please go ahead and ask Nikolai. Take advantage of his presence here because we have a unique guest, someone from the ground, from Odessa, born and raised here, that can definitely share his experience. As you can hear, in the most honest and open way I've seen in a very long time. So please feel free to ask him anything you like. Georgia, do we have any questions on the server, on the chat room?
Yes, Mircea, there are a few already. I'm going to start with the first one from Alina. I'm going to combine them. There are two questions of hers. So Alina is asking, she's saying that we all know that unfortunately there's a lot of corruption, but a way to prevent it at the borders. In these cases, unfortunately, the state is engaged elsewhere, and it seems it's not as present as it should be. Who should be contacted in these cases at the border?
Who should be contacted? The answer to you, thank you. This is a really good question, because I'll tell you why. Because it's all people, okay? And for example, you would like same as me to prevent this from happening. For example, there are, okay, 5 people working at the customs. For example, there are 10, but it's not important. For example, there are 5 people. So, for example, you send 5 people from Romania, from honest country, which from European government or somebody who is very.
Let me stop you there. It's not as honest as you think, but
Yeah.
I mean, compared to Ukraine, is a little bit honest. I just wanted to make that very clear, Nikolai. And I've told you throughout the day that
For
you
example,
guys look up to Romania, but it's not as honest as you imagine. But anyways, we're just digressing. Go ahead.
Okay, 5 people working at the customs, and for example, you send 5 people from, I don't know, from controlling unit from European Union, for example, from somewhere, I don't know, the most interested people in Europe who want to stop corruption at this certain place at the border. Okay, 5 people from European Union come to control 5 people who work on this border. How will it work? You can just follow each of these persons, because you have 5 people from your side and there are 5 Ukrainians. You can control each of them. But once they 2 of them say, "Oh, can I go to toilet?" for example. Okay, yes, you say, of course, yes, you can. They go together to toilet, and one of them says, "Oh, that guy, for example, driving Audi, he wants to pay us $3,000, so we let him go through the customs border." And they say, "Okay, we can divide this money. We can okay." And now they are already a small organized group acting against your people. So what I trying to tell you, no, it should be destroyed in our minds. You cannot, in my opinion, it's absolutely impossible to control from outside. If people want to do this, they will do it, you know. It's impossible. In my opinion, it's impossible to control from you have to change something from the inside.
Is there a place? Is there maybe an organization in the government, maybe one prosecutor that people can trust with corruption cases in Ukraine? Is there someone fighting against corruption right now in this country?
In this country, I think that well, I cannot, I prefer to only to talk about the facts that I have seen with my own eyes. Yes, but in this case, well, for example, I told you about this corn and the security guys and everything that I know from my personal experience, and I can trust my experience because I saw it with my own eyes. But in this case, I have to rely on my experience of living in Ukraine all my life and being born here, and I can tell you, yes, we had such people, but they were single people. There is one, and later another one, and later another one. It wasn't, and well. In Ukraine we say, and in Russia too, we say one person cannot be a warrior, you know, and they all have been murdered. Okay, if there is a person in Ukraine who wants to win against corruption, well, I can be that person. For example, I don't know any maybe there is some other guy who is still not connected to big group, and some girl and somebody there, but they are not one force. And you know, it's for example, this example with my neighbor woman, she already sent me these 2 messages that it was a criminal, so it was okay to beat him. Okay, so he screams it's okay, and it was not a car with the corn, it was just a car with some cargo, and it sounds like she warns me. It already it's already a warning. If I say go off, I don't believe you, then I will have troubles. Okay, so now I have to think how to respond this lady, but I have to respond because I'm very much ready to not to hide, and I'm very much ready to say no, you're wrong. It is against law. No, it was cars with corn, not with just cargo. But I have to find the way to tell, because I'm not going to hide my ass. You know, I'm not a person like this. I
admire your courage, and it's absolutely incredible. And I will keep saying that throughout the night and throughout my stay here in Odessa, working with you. But I think you need to do it in a way that is very well documented. Your testimony is powerful enough, absolutely, but it's always good to have proof of what you're saying, whether it's audio, photo, video proof, other witnesses, just to document that properly all these abuses and human rights violations that you've been telling me about. It's not that people won't believe you. I'm sure they will. It's just a question of having that sort of exposure that will protect you as a person. Because when you're telling me all these stories and I'm listening to you and everyone else here on Discord is listening, I'm thinking of Pavel Sheremet. You know the name, right?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
you can use all the information that I gave you for free on your own
No,
will.
it's not a question of payment. It's a question of keeping you safe and protected, and obviously do it in an efficient way, that all these cases can be documented properly. And I mentioned Pavel because I actually had a chance to meet him. And for people who are on Discord now, maybe the name doesn't ring a bell, but Pavel Sheremet was an excellent investigative journalist from Ukraine that unfortunately died in his own car while he was leaving his house in Kiev. He had a bomb placed under his car because he was so honest and so open and didn't really care about his own safety, but cared mostly about the right things to do, and he denounced corruption. So it's just chilling to see brave people like you and Pavel and many other people put themselves in danger, especially in a war zone now. um, and I think it needs to be done in a very efficient way because, like you said, you will get in trouble if you keep talking and not not bring the sufficient visibility to your person that in turn protects you. I think you understand. I hopefully you understand what I'm trying to
Mhm.
say here. Do we have more questions?
Yes, we do. The next one is from Gladio. I think half of it is already answered, but I'm going to read it. So he says, is it really just about corruption, or there are still a lot of Russian agents left behind after the fall of the Iron Curtain? And he references the Andropov plan.
Can you well just say this question in the way that I understand because
Sure.
yes.
So he's asking if in all that corruption, is there also because of like Russian agents infiltrated or remained behind after the USSR fell? He's referencing the Andropov plan, if it's
Androp
familiar to you.
Yes, Andropov was the person who was the chief of KGB, and if we dig into that story, then we had many presidents in the history of Soviet Union and in history of United States as well. But we now talk about our history, okay? And we almost 98% can say that Stalin was really murdered, and the Brezhnev, the president of Soviet Union, who was during this Andropov time, was killed, and the next one was Andropov. Andropov was the chief of KGB, and then he, after the death of Brezhnev, which I'm sure it was not death, it was murder, he became the president of the Soviet Union, and he was murdered too. And well, okay. And the Andropov time was the time I lived already in Soviet Union at the time, and I was a small child. But believe you or not, I remember the day when he was murdered. Well, it was said that he died, but well, now we think he was murdered. It was the time when, for example, KGB agents, and it's true now. It's true. It's completely true. Everyone in Ukraine, Russia says it's true. Even those who love Soviet Union and those who hate, everyone confirms it's true. If, for example, between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., someone sees you walking in the park, So the KGB agents, it's true, come to you and ask, please, sir, tell me what you are doing, show me your papers, why are you not at work? And that was a fun story because I was a student of mathematical faculty. They told me a story. They found one of professors of mathematics in the garden. He was walking around and just thinking about the lecture he was given. He was given in an hour or two. He was just preparing for the lecture. He was walking around the city garden there and here and thinking of what he will say. I'm sure you understand this. It's like your
Yes, absolutely.
yes. And two people from KGB came to him and said, well, same question, what are you doing? And he honestly answered, I'm working, he said. Well, they said, oh, you are working. So they took him to, so you are laughing about our question. They took him into a prison and kept there for 24 hours before they found out that he really says the truth. And he's really professor of mathematics, and let him go after that. So this is on drop of times. And I'm sure that there is a lot of honesty and there is a lot of truth in your question because I think that Russia still sees and has always Finland, I don't know, Bulgaria, Romania, Georgia, Uzbekistan, Tatarstan, etc., as part of their empire. So
I see. What Nikolai and what our guest and our listener is asking as well is, do you think that some of this corruption that you just described is a leftover from the Soviet Union, or is it a new generation of corruption? Help us understand that.
What if you want to look from the inside? What we Ukrainians think about that? Our Ukrainian opinion, common opinion inside of Ukraine, is that they are sons and daughters and nephews and nieces of those people who govern Soviet Union. So we just changed the name, but the rest stayed unchanged. You know, they were fathers ruling and corrupting, and now their daughters and sons and nephews, etc., doing the same. This is our inside of Ukraine opinion about what happens in our country. Is it true or not? It's what's in people's minds. You know,
I can relate to that because it is the case in Romania as well. We've been having this sort of generational corruption, if you want to call it that way, of people who were in communist time privileged by the Communist Party, and then after the fall of communism in 1989 in Romania, became a new generation of economical and political elite. So it is passed from generation to generation, from privileged political elites to another political elites, regardless of ideology.
Yes, I'd like I very much many years I very much would like to pass this information to let people in outside of this ex-Soviet bloc, to let them to pass them who we are from the inside, what we do, what we think about, what we do with your help, with your money. For example, if the European Union gives Ukraine money for developing roads or something, or hospitals, it is very good if $1 of one given million of euros will be spent for this road or for the hospital. The rest will be, I guarantee you, I'm totally sure the rest will be spent on nice cars, villas in Spain, villas in Ukraine, whatever, but not roads, not hospitals, nothing. But in the West, people are very nice and very delicate and very tolerate, and they are very kind, too kind to believe that this horror is true, you know. And for me, it's a big, huge chance to tell you that Ukraine is different than you thought before from the inside. Same as Russia, of course. But
I was gonna ask you about this. Now, moving a little bit away, but still staying on the subject of corruption and well, our topics tonight. Um, help me and help us understand how Odessa is dealing with the war, because this it was, I when I was coming here in 2014, 15, 16, was a city that was 60-70% pro-Russian. Correct me if I'm wrong. That
Yeah.
was my feeling. How does the city relate to war at the moment? What do people think here about what's going on in Ukraine?
Well, before, even me at the start, because Odessa, was founded and established by the Russian Queen Catherine, it, and the statue
Yes.
of this with Catherine, we have the square of Catherine and statue and everything, and this is true. And this statue of Catherine was built in Odessa during the president time of Yushchenko, and Yushchenko has obviously been a guy from the West, let's say like this. He was, let's say, Yanukovych was pro-Russian president and Yushchenko pro-American. But it's okay. So the Odessa is not. We say Odessa is not Ukrainian city and it's not Russian city. So it's different. So Russia hoped very much. Not I tell it in the past. Hoped very much that they come to Odessa and we put Russian flags up and make them coffee and tea and live together happily. And to be honest, at the beginning of this war, we thought the same. But after after we started to find out that they shoot, that they are crazy. We have lots of relatives in Russia, and you know what they tell us? They say, "Oh, you deserve it. We have been waiting for the chance to kick your ass for the last 8 years," and etc. and etc. And now, if to answer your question very shortly, and Odessa, which I hope they will not. I'm sure they will not come to Odessa. If they come to Odessa, we will kick their asses very heavily. Okay, this is the short answer.
Is there a strong resistance in Odessa at the moment?
Strong preparation, but if you look at any news or war map or anything, the Russian troops, army, etc., they haven't reached Odessa yet. They haven't reached yet.
Do you think Odessa will be spared? Will be somehow protected by everything? I mean, look at what's happening in Kiev. Look what's happening in Mariupol. What makes you think Odessa will not be the next target?
To be honest, the main factor for me is the strength of our spirit. This is the main factor for me, because I just pray every day for one thing, that God, please let Russia be only our Ukrainian problem, and we will deal with that. We will kick their asses. We will make their life terrible if they come to. Let it only be Ukrainian problem. Let it not go out to Poland, Romania. Let the third World War not start. Let do in such way that it is only our problem. If it's only our problem, this is the amazing news for us, because Odessa will, if they reach Odessa, which I'm sure they will not, Odessa will be the last stop for them, and they will enter Odessa, and no one of them will leave Odessa alive. I can guarantee. But the people before Odessa, like Kharkov, like Kherson, like Nikolaev, like Kiev, they are as strong in spirit as we are. So they already kick their asses very heavily, and they do not give us a chance to kick Russian asses, because they already killed them. They do amazing things. They stop tanks with only hands, and they are as brave as we are. But if Russians achieve Odessa, that Odessa will be the last stop for them. If it's only Ukrainian problem, we will stop them here, and that will be over, and that will be Ukrainian win. But I only pray that they don't go any further to Poland, for example. If it's Ukrainian, let it be Ukrainian problem, and if it's Ukrainian problem, it's not a problem. We will deal it. We will just need some of your help, etc. But we will destroy them sooner or later. That's the question.
I see in your strong belief and your very patriotic spirit. I see it reflected on the streets of Odessa, on the signs, on every wall, on every written piece of ad that I seen. Tell us a little bit about what you can see today in Odessa on the posters and billboards, where just weeks ago you had commercials for jeans or maybe for hand cream or perfumes. What can you see today in Odessa?
So this is the story. Thank you for this good question. This is the story that can be understood better if you are someone from the inside, Ukraine or Russia. Well, unfortunately, I have to use this phrase, yes, from these posters, just to explain you. So the war started on this island, Zmiyny or Snake's Island, whatever you call it, and the Russian ship came to this island, and there was our border control officers, and they told him, "Hello, this is Russian military ship." Okay, and it was said with the meaning that, "Hello, guys, here we are. Open the gates. We are coming. Make coffee, make toasts, get ready tea, and here we are. We came. Honey, I'm home." You know, this was said in this way. Okay, and the answer was from our customs officers was the Russian military ship. Go fuck. The answer was. And they didn't expect.
Go fuck
Yes,
yourself.
yeah, go fuck yourself. Yes, it means that.
It became very viral, and I'm sure most of the people on the channel heard this story before.
Yes, and they said it says about how much they were certain that this Zmiyny island, it's close to Odessa. It says how much Russians have been certain that we are waiting for their help for I don't know, for the moment they come and let us free from something. I don't know what they are going to make us free from. And so they said, "Oh, honey, I'm home. Open the door." But we have not been expecting. We still have a different opinion, and so this officer said, "Russian military plane, yes, go fuck them." And this is our position against Russia. So now we have this phrase everywhere at posters in Odessa. I don't know who makes that because it needs money. You need to print it, to put it, to pay for that. But you cannot drive more than 2 blocks and not see this sign, Russian ship, go fuck. Russian ship, go fuck, on the left, on the right, instead of this advertising of jeans or perfumes or new bank account or internet provider. You just only see this phrase everywhere, and not only this phrase, also phrases, Russian soldier, remember your family and go home with a clean soul, and or Russian soldier, you will be met here not with flowers but with bullets, and etc., etc., etc.
Well, do you think it works? Do you think the Russian military kind of has like Russian soldiers? Do you think they understand these messages? What is it that is happening in your opinion on the Russian side? From what you see on media, from the people you talk in Russia, what's going on in their mind?
Can you repeat the question again?
Yes, absolutely. Do you think the Russian soldiers reading these posters, do you think they understand? Do you think they will take your advice and leave, or they will continue?
I think the biggest problem with Russia is they speak exactly the same language as we speak. Well, almost, because of course I can distinguish the language. So yes, they can. I can distinguish is Ukrainian person speaking Russian, Odessa person, Nikolai person. Well, if you live in Ukraine, you can do this, or it is, or he is from Moscow or Petersburg or from Siberia. I can distinguish that very easily because when you live in Ukraine, you can do this. If okay, of course they can read. And of course they have spies here who can read Russian, and these signs, in my opinion, work very well in the way that they raise our spirit, raise our desire to win. This is the biggest influence in my opinion. And if their spies read, not if, when their spies read these signs, this decreases their moral spirit. And when we read it, it increases our moral spirit. Increasing our moral spirit is the most important influence of these signs, in my opinion.
Georgia, are there any more questions, or if anyone on the channel would like to raise their hand and ask Nikolai a live question, please do so. I'll just keep reminding you throughout the evening. We have at least another 10 minutes with our wonderful guest. So please feel free to ask him questions. Marius Saizu is here, one of my fellow colleagues who was in Odessa as a journalist not too long ago. Maybe he wants to ask a question to Nikolai.
Hi, I don't know the topics before this, but I think one of the biggest questions now are, it's possible to attack Odessa now by Russian, and yes, from which point, and if the answer is no, why? Because I've been there for 10 days and I saw a lot of soldiers in the street, a lot of barricades, a lot of attempts of Russians to assault Odessa, but nothing more.
Okay, thank you for your question. It helped me to remind one more thing that you that you probably didn't know about Odessa. This very famous air defense systems, Russian systems, but they are really not Russian, they are Soviet. Why? For example, probably this the biggest, hugest cargo airplane called Mria, and it was Ukrainian, yes. But the question is, this Mria airplane Russian or Ukrainian? The right answer is it is Soviet. Why Soviet? Why not Russian, not Ukrainian? Because for the last 30 years, when we are not one country, neither Russia nor Ukraine could build one more of these planes. So it is not Russian, not Ukrainian, it is Soviet airplane. So, okay, this is the first part. The second, this famous air defense system, S-300, Soviet air defense system, was produced in Kiev, believe you or not. 40% of our military industry, of Soviet military industry, was concentrated in Ukraine. Why? Why is that? Because of, believe you or not, because of Ukrainian mentality. Ukrainian mentality, we are hardworking people, okay? And in Russia, they are not so much hardworking than hard drinking, I would say. So this but it's not still the answer to your good question. The S-300, this air defense system, was produced in Kiev, and the first unit of this system was installed in Kiev, and the second was installed not in Moscow, not in Novosibirsk, it was installed in Odessa, and many others. Why is Odessa so special? Because all Soviet times, Odessa has been a city on the border of NATO. Okay.
Yes.
And so, if there is a missile starting from Turkey, in 4 minutes it is in Odessa. So the Soviet Union put lots of efforts to protect Odessa, and I don't know where it is or what is there, how much, but I know they are. For example, I live near airport, near a military base, and even I know that there are at least 3 kilometers of corridors under the ground, and this is air defense military base, and it's only one, and it's only what I know. But I know that in around Odessa, there are not just long corridors, cities with corridors for 60 and more kilometers, with lots of military units got ready for the time of war. Okay, so if the people in our military government are smart enough and they will use it in a proper way, I don't know, it's useless to attack Odessa. But I still haven't answered your question. I just wanted to tell you more about Odessa than probably is known, in public. Whether they attack Odessa or not, yes, they can attack Odessa, and I think my feeling, it can be from the seaside, because they have Crimea and ships and everything. Well, we will see, but we will see. But I want to say thank you very much to the Soviet engineers that created such such strong air defense system around Odessa, that I think that a couple of times I can't remember when it was, a week ago or something, there were a couple of missiles, or a couple of not missiles, I think a couple of planes, and this system just worked automatically and shot them down, and it was so amazingly constructed that we slightly heard the sound of the plane. It was 70 or 60 kilometers from Odessa, far away. But if to answer your question, if they attack, they will attack from the sea, I think.
Okay, I understand, and thanks a lot.
Okay.
Can you estimate? It's just an information for me as a journalist. How many soldiers? First of all, for how many soldiers they need to occupy Odessa, and how many Ukraine soldiers defending the Odessa in the Odessa Oblast, I mean the whole regions?
To occupy Odessa, you probably need 100,000 people, I would say, because it's 1 million people city. Just if you know Odessa and you drive along the streets.
I know.
Yeah, you see so many corners, so many shelters, so many.
Indeed.
It's just to surround one house, for example, in the village, you need at least 5 people, just to control all the corners. But it's 1 million people city. How many we have in Odessa? Yes, not so much, but what we say in Ukraine, that we are on our own ground, on our mother earth, and they are on the foreign earth. So here our ground, our mother helps us, and they, for example, just imagine a Russian soldier. He comes to Odessa. It is 800 kilometers from Donetsk, and from Donetsk to Lugansk, from Lugansk to Russia, and from Russia to somewhere, some base in Russia. So it's more than 1,000 kilometers. They come here, they will not get a cup of water, they will not get internet, no electricity, no gas, no heating, not piece of bread. We will give them absolutely zero. So if they want
maybe some bullets.
Some bullets, yes.
Exactly what Zelensky said, if you guys remember. Remember when Zelensky went on the streets and said, I don't need a walk, I just need you to send me bullets. And I think, Nikolai, is that the attitude of people you speak with, your friends, maybe Tereo, the civilian defense here in Odessa? what are people expecting from the international community? What sort of help and how does that look?
Well, first of all, we consider you, the Western journalist, Western people, as friends.
Well, I'm not Western, I'm Eastern European, I'm Romanian.
Yes, but we consider you as Western, so this is one more truth about Ukraine. Okay, we expect we have enough of people, okay, but we need more weapon. For example, if you give us, I don't know, the latest American fighter, 100 pieces, that will not help at all. But if, like Poland, you give us all Polish, old Soviet MiGs and Sukhoi planes and everything, the difference is that we can use these machines. We know how to use. We are trained to use them. We have the same ones. If you give us just old Soviet rubbish that you have everywhere, I'm kidding, of course, then it will help a lot. It will help a lot. And keep pushing their economy, because the economy is the weakest point in every country. I think if you keep these sanctions making more, then people from inside of Russia, many of which are not happy about this war, they will stand up and they will finish this war from the inside of Russia. So this will help. The sanctions, please push them as hard as you can. And if you have all Soviet weapons, planes, everything, it's time to give it to us, please.
Yeah, but just one more question, if it's possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Today we have almost 3 weeks from starting the war. Yeah, they have some sanction after 2 or 3 days. The Russian, I mean, and in the meantime, some shops are closed, some factories are closed in Russia. But how many days Russian people needs to understand all this situation, to rise up, as you already say?
I can tell you one more thing that will be probably new for you. We have relatives in Russia, and they are not, believe you, it's 21st century. They are not allowed to use the word war. If they use the word war,
they go to jail, to prison. Yeah.
Yes, they have to use military operation.
15 years, and they are so much suffering already from all these prices, from all this stuff that goes on in Russian economy, that they are ready to die already, but and this from one side they are pushed by the government by this 15 years in prison, and from other side they are economically almost dead, and but you don't know it because they are not allowed to tell you, but they can tell it to us. So please keep pushing harder, and maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks more, and that will be over. But please do not do one thing: do not cover the sky over Ukraine, because if you cover the sky of Ukraine, it will be the direct war of NATO and Russia, and that will be over. That will be the third war. Please better help us with all Soviet armor, weapons, with sanctions as much as you can, but do not intrude into this conflict. Let it be Ukrainian problem, and we will make it over very soon. It's our problem. If it will be our problem, it will be the best for everyone. It will be only Ukrainian conflict. We will complete it. We will shut it down and finish and win. But don't intrude. Don't let it grow into the world war, please.
Yeah, I understand, and thank you very much for the answer.
Okay. With that in mind, I will conclude the session for tonight. But I'm sure, Nikolai, we will have you back on Discord. And what I encourage you to do, and what I've told you today to do, is if you found this experience of being on Discord and talking to people, if you found it useful and relevant to you, I strongly encourage you to start your own Discord server, Discord channel. I will kindly ask the moderators from Ucrainalive to help you set up everything you need to set up. I'm sure you're a smart guy with computer science background, so you'll figure it out in no time. But if you do need help, we are here to help you. And I take a leap of faith when I say that on behalf of the whole community. And I think we need to support and encourage and follow more people like you who are living here, have a YouTube channel every day, post content from this area, and explain it as good as you did today. So for your courage and for your clarity and for your time, I thank you for sharing your stories tonight with us. And again, I strongly invite you to start your own Discord channel. And as soon as you do that, I will promote it here and as much as I can to Romanian audiences. Thank you
very
for
much.
being here.
Thank you very much. The biggest thank you for me would be if you share what you heard as much as possible all around the West or Central Europe, everywhere. This will be the best result of our 1 hour together. And thank you, of course, I will join you anytime I'm invited, with great pleasure.
Thank you, Nikolai. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Have a great night. You will find this session on YouTube very shortly. Thank you to the moderators for being here tonight. And have a safe night. Stay well. Have a good night. Thank you.